Hey, what's up, everybody? What are we doing this morning? We're going to do a Seiko review, and it's going to be one of two coming. Well, not coming, because this one you're already watching. There's another one coming that's going to be a Seiko 5 Sport. It's going to be their SRPD 51 dive watch. So, well, diver style. So anyway, I got one. Wanted to try my first Seiko. I figured, you know what, let me try one of their lesser expensive, one that's more of a sport fashion style watch. Oh, and by the way, if you notice, like, hey, that's a pretty bright bracelet. That's from the Vair that I did yesterday. I've got the 40 mil calendar field watch, and I think it looks fantastic. This is just an Amazon Basics $10 NATO strap with stainless steel, bright orange, and I think that looks pretty damn good. Nice and sporty, outdoorsy kind of looking. I like it a lot better than the silicone rubber strap that it came with. And I actually like it better than the nylon one it came with. I think this is a watch that is perfectly suited for NATO straps. And I thought, you know what? I don't have any in bright orange. I thought that could look kind of cool. Anyway, if you see that from yesterday's video, I said I was going to get the strap. There you go. What are we talking about now? Well, I wanted to try a basic Seiko. So they have their Essentials line, which is going to be the sub $200. And they got a couple nice looking models. It is Seiko, so you are getting the brand. You are getting the heritage and all that, but you're not going to spend a ton of money. You're down into, Timex and Casio. Well, I mean, Timex and Casio go way cheaper. You can get a $15 one of those. But, when you start getting into the 100 to 200 range, there's some options out there to get you a decent watch. But it's not going to be a high-end watch by any means, but it is a good brand. So I was like, oh, let me see what they have. So apparently that one lifts off. It doesn't have a hinge, hence why it fell. It came in a larger box with a complete manual. All you're doing is setting the time. It's analog, so I don't know why. I mean, I guess maybe they have 47 languages in here. It is a rather large instruction manual. We got the pillow, which this thing just kind of sits on. And let's open it up and see what we got and see if we like it. It is interesting. Kind of working with that orange. Makes me wonder if I had a strap like this. It's a different size. That would look kind of cool too, to have black and orange and tie them together, just to add that splash of color. But anyway, what do we have? We'll go through the specs, the model number, and all that good stuff. So what we have is, this is the SSB403 Essentials Chronograph tachometer. It is around 41.3 millimeters, I believe, so almost 42. So it's just in that sweet spot that I prefer, which is 42 to 44, maybe 45, 40. I can go bigger, but on average, I'm shooting for 42 to 44 most of the time on my watches, especially if it's got a chronograph and other stuff. When it's a field watch, it's literally just date and time. I'm willing to go down to 40, but I do tend to like the bigger watches just because I'm a bigger guy and it looks more proportional on my wrist. All right, let's get into the specs. So other page here. I got this off Amazon for $179 with free Prime shipping, so under $200 shipped. So, you're getting a nice Seiko with 100-meter water resistance. It's a chronograph. They do have some cheaper ones that are down around 140, 150. But I wanted the chronograph. I think that looks kind of cool. I like the big button that kind of sticks out and looks more like a traditional stopwatch, and then the reset down here. The only thing I noticed is that it is not a screw-down crown. So while they say 100-meter water resistance, I wouldn't go scuba diving with it. They say that, and they're a reputable brand, so you'd like to believe the 100-meter water resistance. I'm just thinking, without having a screw-down crown and screw-down buttons and things like that, I'd be careful going anything more than just, hey, a quick jump in the pool or taking a shower or you get caught in the rain. I wouldn't go anything deeper than that with it. But the actual specs on this bad boy are, it's 41 millimeter. It is a 22 millimeter lug width, 100-meter water resistance. It is a stainless steel case. Thickness, if you remove the straps here, is only 12.3, so not very thick. It uses a caliber 8T63. Guessing it's their own. It is crystal. So you don't have to sit there and worry about, winding it, or if you don't wear watches every day. And that's always the problem I have with manuals, although the one I just ordered, the other Seiko that's coming today, is a manual. I tend to prefer quartz for the simplicity of just grabbing a watch and going and not having to reset the date and time every day. If it's your everyday watch, well then, the power reserve will last through the night, and the next day you put it on and off you go. It'll stay wound. But anyway, this does use their Hardlex crystals. They have it's not sapphire like this guy, even though the same price. The Veyor, I'm going to say, the Veyor gives you a nice sapphire crystal with an anti-reflective coating. This is just their Hardlex, which is like a specially treated crystal, mineral crystal. Well, let's take it, let's put it on the ground here on the table so we can see the stuff. Yeah, so it's noticeably bigger, but it's not massively bigger. So, but it's enough. Like I really wish that these, as much as I love this watch, I just wish they were bigger. I wouldn't mind seeing field watches start to come in 42s, but that's just bigger enough where it's not going to be, because what fits me and what I say I like a 42 to 44, I see other pages, other channels talking about, oh, it's a 43, it's kind of getting too big. And it's like, really? Like, oh, that's perfect. But, if you're 5'8", and you got slender wrists and shorter arms, then yeah, it'll look proportional and it'll be just right. That sits on there kind of nice. Sits a little bit high because this is a thick band. These Amazon Basic ones are really thin, which I kind of like. It doesn't add a lot of weight and bulk to them. That's a good looking watch though. I'll try and get some close-ups of it so we can get the focus in there. iPhone's not good at focusing on video up close. Let's see, let's slip the band off for a second. Take a look at the back. It's just using regular old spring bars, so I can put on whatever I would like as far as other bands. Unlike the Bertucci, which has them milled into the case, and they're thick titanium, so you can only use native or slip-through, pass-through style bands. So on the back, what do we have? It just gives the specs, 10 bars, serial number, model number, and Seiko. All right, not all that interesting. The only thing I don't like about the NATO strap sometimes is when you have like a nice watch with like an open back, the exhibition or whatever they call the type where you can see through with the glass and see the movement, you end up covering it up. Or even on my Lunar Pilot, and my homage to my Omega Speedmaster, my lunar watches, they have really cool case backs all engraved with cool stuff. But I prefer them with NATO straps, which means you can't see it. So let's see if we can get some good close-up shots. So what we've got is, it looks good. I mean, if I take it out of the shadow of the camera here and take it off camera, at a glance, it's decent visibility, but it's not like this. Like at a glance, you could see this from like 10 feet away, and you can see what time it is here. If that was 10 feet away, you wouldn't. It's very busy. It's very pretty. It's nice. I like the shininess of the indexes at the hour markers. I like the orange second hand. So we can start that. I think this just uses their mecha quartz, is what they call that movement. So we've got our second hand moving with the stopwatch, and then we have our minutes counting down over on that complication. I can stop, and here, instead of sweeping all the way around, it should just go, if this is mecha quartz, it'll just go snap. So it looks like a mechanical. That's kind of cool. So we've got that. You've got your date down at the 4 o'clock, or actually it's in between 4 and 5, or 3 and 4. Between 4 and 5, which is kind of nice. A lot of times they put it like here, where it's doubled up with a number, and then you have like two numbers next to each other. To me, that just looks odd. Because you're seeing 263. You have to go, well, wait, it's the 26th and it's 3 o'clock. So I do like it when they put it separate. So that's kind of cool. The hands, when you're on it, let's see, when you're looking at it close, it's a very busy dial. I wouldn't mind if the hands were a bit brighter white. I mean, when you look at this, you can, the hands jump out at you against a much simpler black dial. And I guess that's the purpose of the field watch. Simplicity, legibility, right? You're using it in those type of environments, military. You want to glance down and do it. You don't want to sit here and go, well, let me change the light. Let me get it at the right angle, So, but as a watch, like that's going to look really good on my wrist. I like that a lot. I like the black dial. The machining is all nice and brushed. Seiko does a really good job on their polishing and their case. Everything feels very precise. There's no lines that are a little bit off. It has that German. Well, the Germans are kind of the same way, but it has that Japanese kind of precision feel, even though it's not particularly anything high end. I mean, this is a value line from them, but to me, I feel like there's a lot of value here. This is a nice watch for $180. The band is nice and stout. I'll need to soften that up. These things kind of are a little stiff out of the box. That's all right. We'll get it to loosen up a little bit over time. Also, I found taking a shower with the watch on will help soften it temporarily, and then it dries, and so here you're kind of stretching that around the spring bars. It'll kind of soften and mold it a little bit and take a set, and it'll kind of curve to your wrist, and it just, to me, take a shower with the NATO straps. It tends to make the straps kind of fit a little bit better once they dry in that position. What else is there to say about it? No, not really. It's a nice watch. There's not really much else to say. It seems like a good value. It's a good size that I think most people would like. You're right there at 41 millimeters. So, it's on the big side for a field watch, but I think for the average person, that's going to be probably perfect. I wouldn't mind seeing it bigger. Again, I know I say that on every watch. And that's the problem when you look at these watches online. And I know they give the dimensions, so I should know by now. But I do tend to see that. And I'm like, wow, that looks like a nice, fairly chunky watch. And then you get it, and you're like, it's a bit smaller than I thought it was going to be. But I like that. I really like the band. I think this is a fantastic color combination of, you have black on the watch, you've got the more silver and gray, I guess it's more silver than gray, on the case itself. You've got a little orange on the button there for the start and stop of the stopwatch. You've got orange on the dials. So we've got your sweeping seconds down there. That is silver, but you got your gold or your orange there. You got orange lettering up in that on that part of the dial there that says tachometer. And then the band ties it all together nicely. You've got black. You have black here. You've got your orange and your gray. I think they did a really good job aesthetically of drawing this together and making it not shouty and in your face like I've made this one, but it is something that will catch the eye while at the same time having that sort of 70s sport watch, chronograph, sort of vibe to it. Like, that's a really good looking watch. I like that a lot. I'm wearing this one today. I got to get my other one. Will arrive probably. I'm going to go out ride motorcycles today and play with the new camera and the gimbal effect and all that kind of stuff. So if you're into motorcycles, check that out. Let's see, is that short enough that I can just tuck it through there? You know what, that one I'm not going to fold over. I'm just going to wear it like that. That fits perfectly. I'll shower with it later just to get it to take the bend a little bit better. But this will soften up over time. You got to just kind of sit here and do that with it like you would with leather. But then it will get nice and loose and floppy. And that will make it more comfortable on the wrist. But that is nice. I think that is it's not an expensive watch, but man, is that good looking. So I would highly recommend it. If you want a Seiko, you want a name brand, you want a brand that's got some heritage to it, and you want to look at it as kind of like a gateway drug and getting into the brand, because Seiko's got, you can spend $140 on a Seiko, and then you can spend way up into, you get to the King Seikos. The regular Seiko lines seem to go to about $3,000 or $4,000. Then you get into a couple of the King Seiko models, which are starting to bridge the gap between that and Grand Seiko. And Grand Seiko starts at $3,800 and can go up to over $100,000. Like, those are handmade watches. It's a different division of the company, but they're obviously all under common ownership. But Seiko's got an amazing heritage. Seiko when you look at their history, the Japanese were renowned as being, the most accurate high-tech timepieces well before the Swiss. I mean, the Japanese were doing some really incredible work. So Seiko is one of those companies that's really kind of led that charge. And they do a really good job on dials. They do a lot of movements, and Seiko supplies a lot of movements to all kinds of other watchmakers out there. So do the Swiss, to be fair. But I think that is an absolutely gorgeous watch. I just wish I could get the damn thing to focus properly. But maybe that. Can you see that? Can you see it, folks? Looks pretty damn good, doesn't it? Like it a lot. So there you go. You can get a really nice name brand watch for under $200 from an extremely reputable company that's been around forever and has had some innovative designs. And they're one of the leaders out there in the watch world, Yeah, they don't have the cachet of a Breitling or a Tudor, but I think a lot of watch snobs and a lot of people that are really into watches, I think they really seem to respect Seiko. I watch a lot of videos from Teddy Baldessari and Kevin O'Leary, and they've always got great things to say about Seikos. They love Seikos as a brand, as a starter brand. Obviously, those guys are buying watches that are, investments and spending tens of hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases. But they always come back to, what does the average person buy? And if you want to start a good collection, where should you start? And Seiko, more often than not, is one of the companies that they suggest. So there you have it. That is the Seiko Essentials model SSB403. We'll put links to the specs and to Amazon in the description of the video. But if you want that sort of retro 70s, almost like early 80s, had a lot of oranges and black and gray. If you live through that time, you'll know what I'm talking about. You see that and you kind of think of that. But I love the way it's all coordinated, the band and the colors on the dial. That is just a fantastic looking watch. The more I'm looking at it, the more I'm like, ooh, this is going to make it really high into my rotation. So being able to just throw it on, take a shower with it, I'm out riding, get stuck in the rain, but it's not going to be so expensive that I'm like, oh, I'm going to be afraid to scratch it or something like that. It's like, this could be a really nice beater watch. And I think this is going to be a watch that people will look at and go, ooh, what is that? And that's the thing. It's like you could have a really expensive watch, but it just looks like a watch. I mean, it may look nice to someone who has an eye for that stuff, but it doesn't necessarily catch someone's eye across the room or become a conversation starter. Or, ooh, what is that thing? What is that? And you start talking about it. You never know. I've had a couple people compliment some of my other watches, and they were sitting there with a $6,000 watch on their wrist, and they were looking at my $400 watch like, ooh, dude, that is a really nice watch. Tell me about that. Had that happen. So pretty cool. I like it a lot. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, but you want to have a brand that even most watch snobs can't really say much about negatively, then look to that. I don't know if it's your style or not. Some people might look at it and go, I don't like the retro look. That's okay. They got other stuff to pick from. But there you have it. That's the unboxing, and I am wearing that today. So we'll talk to you folks later. And as promised, I showed you what the Vair looks like with the strap. And I think that looks fantastic with orange and the silver. And the silver here, it's not a high polish. It's kind of like it's not a matte finish, but it's really close to the damn watch. Like that came out really, really good. Very simple, very nice. We'll talk to you guys later.